Start. Can you guys able to hear me? Hi everyone, Salesforce Admin Training Day 12. Let's see what we are going to learn today. Today we are going to go through the previous session overview and we'll talk about the concept called Web 2 lead. And what are the navigations to create a Web 2 lead? And also Web 2 case. What is the Web 2 case? And how can I generate the Web 2 case? And how can we do the assignment? And what is the auto response rule introduction. Then we'll have a conclusion and questions interview sessions. Now the last class, we have discussed about the assignment rule. The last topic was assignment rule. So when you search here assignment rule, you will see lead assignment rule and the case assignment rule. Only these two objects it is available. So if you go to the lead assignment rule, in the lead assignment rule at a time only one should be active. You cannot activate more than one. So when you create a new one, or when you open up, you will see there are rule entries which are available. In the rule entries, you have to specify the condition, right? Step 1 is what is the order, step 2 is criteria, and step 3 is you need to select the queue which you wanted to assign the lead. And in the case assignment rule, click on same logic at a time only one assignment rule will be activated in the case. So click on a new. So when you click on a new, it will be asking to enter the new rule name. So just enter the new rule name. Then once you enter, you need to enter the rule entries. In the rule entries, here we have a order and criteria, and then you have a step 3 is user or a queue. You need to specify it. And then finally, we have a fourth one, which is called as this is optional one. So basically, this is you need to select the predefined case team to add this to the case. So basically predefined case. So we have a case team predefined. So if you search here case team, so go to the predefined case team. Before going to the predefined case team, you need to create a case team roles. Case team roles, whether it is a read, edit, access, like a product manager role or a sales manager role, right? Support manager role, and what kind of a response it is required. So those roles you have to create it. And once you create it, then you need to go for a predefined case team. So in the predefined case team, you need to specify new case team. So basically predefined case team is nothing but it's kind of a different group only specific to the case, we have a case team. So here create a team and what are the users you wanted to add it and what is the role of that user. So that user member might be a product manager or a support manager. Maybe this team member is part of a product manager or it is a support manager. If it is a product manager, what is the level of access? Like for if I say product manager, it is a read write. If I say support manager, also read and write. Because in the case team role, we have given both product manager and support manager, both are read and write access. In role, we have given both of them as a read and write access. So here we have a read and write access. So that's the reason we have a member roles is 2 roles are available. So you specify the team name here. And in this team, who are the users part of it? And for this user is part of a case role. So what are the case team role is there? So but that means whether the user is getting the read write access on the case or this is a basically we are giving. So what will happen is when you select here optionally, you are selecting that particular team. You are selecting the case team which you have created here. So right now we have created a one case team, which is a platinum support team. So we have created. So basically what will happen is whenever this case is created, whenever the case is created, we are assigning the case to a specific queue. In step 3, we are assigning the case to the specific queue. Along with the assignment, what we are doing is we are taking the different users where we will be sharing the case record to that particular user with the whatever the level of access is defined in the case team roles. Whatever the level of access is defined in the case team roles. So that is what we will be giving. In case if it is a support manager is read write, then this Messi will get a read write access. If it is a read access, Messi will get a read access. Apart from the queue, these many members also, users also will get a email saying that this is a case is created. So that is a optional, which is latestly it is released. Now, if you want to replace any existing predefined case teams on the case, so you can do that. Right, so this is what we have discussed in the last session. So case team is which I have added today. Now next topic is which I'm going to go through is Web 2 lead. Web 2 lead. So when we say Web 2 lead, what is the Web 2 lead? Now let's take a scenario. I'm into the page where it is my Audi. This is a my Audi page, which is a vehicle page. I am into the my Audi website. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to buy a vehicle. I wanted to buy a vehicle. So which is a my Audi vehicle I wanted to buy. Whenever I wanted to buy before that, right? Before that, what I need to do is I need to test whether all the things are comfortable for me driving it or not. Right? Everything I'll check it. Everything I'll check. So in order to check that, what we will do is we will do the test drive. We will do the test drive. So I'll go to the test drive in this page. When I go to the test drive, here, now I can select it. There are number of vehicles are there. Which vehicle I wanted to drive. So we have a A8L, Q7, Q5, right? E-Ton Sportback is there. So many vehicles are there. So now I wanted to try something which is the Q3 Sportback, right? So I wanted to try this Q3 Sportback. So I'll click on this. As soon as I click on this, what it is coming here, it is displaying a form. It is displaying a form here. In this form, it is asking me the different details. Right? In this form, it is asking the different details. What are those details it is asking basically? It is asking me the first name, last name. It is asking the title, first name, last name, phone number, right? So we have these many information that I need to provide, and that means everything is a mandatory here. Phone number is a mandatory, email is a mandatory, dealership is a mandatory. Dealership is basically whoever is nearby you. So it is called as a dealership is nothing but. So if you select here, like which one you want. So here basically Swati, please. So here, so dealership is basically where you wanted to go. Audi you wanted to, who is a nearby dealership? Like it is nearby me is Hyderabad, right? So where is the Audi Hyderabad? So here is the Audi Hyderabad. If I am in Pune, so then I'll be nearby is my Audi Pune, right? If I am in Visakhapatnam, it is there in Audi Visakhapatnam. So dealership is which are the nearby is there, So these all information I need to provide. These all information I need to provide, and couple of details I need to check whether I like to receive the marketing communication or whether I wanted to receive a OTP or what are the terms and conditions are there. If I agree everything, then here I have a reCAPTCHA. So just to make sure that this is not a scam, right? So reCAPTCHA is available. I'm not a robot. Select this so that it will take some time to just scan it at the back end. Then you will click on a submit. Right. So this is the form you are filling it because you wanted to go for a test drive. Now the question is how this form is introduced here. Did Audi introduce this? Did Audi implemented it? No, might not be not Audi. Somebody developer has implemented this form and gave it to Audi, right? So gave it to this website. This is implemented by developer. This form is implemented by developer. And then we can give this form to the website. So this form also can be implemented using the Salesforce. Using the Salesforce, exactly we can implement. We can implement. So basically we can implement the default structure is I can place title, first name, last name, phone number, email, dealership. These all things which I can place it. And reCAPTCHA also I can place it. And then submit button. And then submit button. So this is the information which we are preparing. That means Salesforce developer is preparing it. Salesforce developer is preparing it. So, but you might ask that. So here Salesforce developer is preparing it. But I'm right now in the Audi website. Now, how can I view the Salesforce website here? How can I view the Salesforce website here? So the concept we have here is whenever we implement a website, for example, let me go to the paint. Now what developer does is developer will implement a website based on the client requirement. Based on the client requirement, they will implement certain template. Assume that this is a certain form. It's a form. So developer has implemented this form in Salesforce. In Salesforce, developer has implemented. So here I have a first name, right? And then I have a last name. I have last name and then email. There's few more information. I'll place it here. Then I can show the form as a submit button. I can show the form as submit button. This form is implemented using the Salesforce. This form is implemented using the Salesforce. Now here we have a submit button. Here we have submit button. Now in this submit button, as soon as user enter the data and click on the submit. Now this is the form is implemented by Salesforce developer. Salesforce developer. Now what they are doing is, now this form we have implemented by for the client requirement. What are the client requirement are there? So basically for the client requirement, we have introduced the form. So this is the client website. This is website. This is a website. So in this website, what we will do is every company. So basically every company has a team. Team will be like, this is the one website. So there is in the company, we have a team who are dedicated for the website. So that team is called designer or the UI team. Designer team or a UI team. So what we will be doing is developer, once the work is completed, whatever this form is there, this form is given to the designer. They will give it to the designer saying that, see, this is the form, you can use it in your website. You can use it. So this is client website. Now what designer does is designer will take that whatever the form is implemented by Salesforce dev, they will take this form and what they will do is they will inject within the website. That means they will insert within the website. They will insert the within the website. Now in the website, as soon as I click on a test drive here, as soon as I click on a test drive form, in the test drive form, I'll be showing some images here, and then below I have a form here. Below I have a form. So this is a test drive page. Test drive page. I click on a test drive page. When I click on a test drive page, here some vehicle details they will be displaying the vehicle details. And then when I click on some information here, so here it will show all the form details will be shown here. All the form details will be shown here. So whatever the form details are there, user will be entering the data here, right? So, and then click on a submit. So this is what we will be doing in the real time. This entire concept is called as a Web2 lead. This entire concept is called as a Web2 lead. Web2 lead. That means I'll be implementing something. Form will be implemented in Salesforce, and this form we will give it to the website. Website will be inject the form within the website. Inject the form within the website. So when they click on a submit, what will happen? Submit will send the details to the Salesforce. As soon as they click on a submit on the website, it is again send the details to the Salesforce. Again, it is going to send the details to the Salesforce. In the Salesforce, we have a database, right? So in the database, it is going to insert the data that is entered by the user. Whatever the data is there, the data is entered by the user will be inserted within the database. Within the database will be inserted. Within the database, it will be inserted. Right? This entire concept is called as a Web2 lead. Now here, how can I implement a form? How can I implement whatever the form is available here? How can I implement? Right? So let's go ahead and see. Now this is a one example of Audi. Now you can go to the ICICI Bank. In ICICI Bank also, whenever you go to the ICICI Bank, now in the ICICI Bank, whenever you open, you have some options here offered to you, right? Saving accounts, home loan account, personal loan, credit card. So whenever you click on the saving account, so they are going to ask you some details. They are going to ask you some details. Or if you click on a home loan, let's say that I need a home loan. So let's open this ICICI Bank. So let's say credit card information. I wanted to apply credit card. So they will be asking some details here. So like this, they have it, you will have a individual forms will be there. You will have individual forms for everything. Whatever you wanted to enter the data, you will be right. So they will be asking a couple of details. So this is also form, group website and country website. This is also one form. This is a small form. Like similarly, if you click on a customer care, it will be asking some details to you, right? So these all, wherever you see that you are searching here, right? Forgot user ID, net banking, right? How to download iMobile, right? These options it is displaying it, right? This is also a form. So wherever you see the form, so basically those forms are implemented by the developers and it is injected within the website. It is injected within the website. Now, how can we implement this form? How can I implement? Now, one option here, whatever the radio checkboxes is there, this radio checkboxes, what are the toggles are there? This we cannot do it using the standard concept. What are the standard functionality is there? Using the standard functionality, we cannot do the toggle, which is not possible. Rest all things you can do it. Okay. In order to do the toggle, you need to customize it. customize it, or else you need to know the HTML tags for the toggle, or you need to know the HTML tags for the toggle. So in that case, you will be able to do it. So some little bit customization is required for this, but rest of other forms I can implement. Now let's go ahead and see how can we implement the Web2 lead form. Now before that, let's understand few more details here. So Web2 lead is basically, so as I have explained, we have a website. There is a website. Now you take any website. You take any website. Could be a ICICI Bank, could be a My Audi, or could be anything. Take any website. This is a website, right? And then we have a Salesforce server. And then we have a Salesforce server. And then we have a database, Salesforce database. Salesforce database, which is called as a database.com. So Salesforce is providing the database, database.com. Database.com. Now here, this is a website. So in this website, what are the data we have? What are the data we have? So we will be sending to the, for example, database.com is nothing but database.com has different type of a tables, account, contact, opportunity. Similarly, we have a lead object. In the lead object, I have a certain column. Its data will be stored in form of rows and columns in the database.com. ID, first name, last name, status, right? Now these are the details are available. Now in the website, we have it, these many options are available. These many options are available. Home, about us, write service, apply online. Apply online is you might be seeing in different website. Like if you want to apply any application in the education application, right? Or you wanted to go through any other courses or any other website related to education, you will see one option is called as a apply online. So this apply online is basically when you click on a apply online, there is a form that gets open. There is a form that gets open. So whenever you click on this form, now whenever you click on a apply online, there is a form that gets open. So in the form, we have a certain details, first name, last name, email, phone number, type, city, right? These are the details which are available. Then we have a submit button. Now enter these details. As soon as the user enter these details and click on a submit button, when they click on a submit button, there is a request that goes to the server. There is a request that goes to the Salesforce server. There is a request that goes to the Salesforce server. Now in the Salesforce server, how can I validate whether the data entered in the first name, last name, email are proper or not? Whether the data is entered in the website, which is proper or not, which is proper or not. So that means somebody has to verify. Somebody has to verify. Now, who will be verifying that? In the Salesforce server, we have a concept called web service. In the Salesforce server, we have a concept called web service. Now, as soon as the user click on the submit button, the request goes to the Salesforce server. Salesforce server sends the details to the web service. Salesforce server send the response to the or a request to the web service. Now, web service is basically going to cross verify whether the data is entered by the user is a valid or not. If it is a valid, if the data is valid, then it will process everything. In case if the data is having some issue, so what will happen? It will send the response back to the Salesforce server saying that the email ID is not proper or phone number is not proper. Then after that, we'll send this. Salesforce server will send it to the website. In the website, they will see that there is an error mark here. Some message will be showing below the email, or there will be some message will be showing below the phone number. That means there is some data which you have entered is incorrect. The web service will be sending the response back to the Salesforce server, and from the Salesforce server, they will receive it on the website. In case if everything is processed, then what web service does is web service sends the details to the database.com in order to create a record. In order to create a record, it will send the request to the database.com, and database.com will receive the response, and whatever the data needs to be created inside the database.com, the record will be inserted. Now, once the record is inserted, then we can see the data in Salesforce. But as soon as the record is inserted, in the Salesforce, what will happen? The next step is it is going to cross verify, is there any assignment rules on this record? On this object, is there any assignment rules? The one which we have learned last class. It is going to check, is there any assignment rules are there or not? If there are any assignment rule, then it will try to execute the assignment rule, and this particular lead will be assigned to a queue. Now, this is entire concept which will happen for the Web2 lead, Now, Web2 lead is automatically enabled by the Salesforce. Web2 lead is automatically enabled by the Salesforce. So whenever you go to the Salesforce, or by default, Web2 lead is enabled. Now, in case if you wanted to disable this, what you can do is you can uncheck this. Right? You can uncheck this. If you uncheck this, then Web2 lead concept you cannot be able to implement. Now let's move on. Now Web2 lead. So Salesforce allows you to create a Web2 lead form that capture the information from the website. But before creating a record in via Web2 lead, Salesforce runs the validation rule with the help of web service. That means whether email is entered properly or not, whether phone number is entered properly or not. If any field value is invalid, no lead is created. Basically, it will throw an error saying that this information is not proper. Now, if you take an example of real-time Web2 lead, right? Test drive. In a day, you might see that more than 500 forms might be filled by the users. Possible that if there is a if there are like something offer is going on the car. If there is an offer is going on the car, most of the members will prefer to buy the car, right? So before that, they wanted to do the test drive. So whenever it's in all over world, if they are receiving more than so many forms users are filling, that means so many records are created. So that means, is there a limitation on the Web2 lead? How many Web2 leads can be created by default from the Salesforce? Is there any limitation? The daily limit for the Web2 lead request is 500. The daily limit for Web2 lead request is 500. So you can create a Web2 lead. That means request will be sent to the Salesforce server, maximum 500. 500 request, we can send it to the Salesforce server. Now, in this case, if I have a limit of 500, if the organization limit is 500, now in case if it exceeds more than the 500, right? What will happen? If your organization exceeds It's a daily Web2 lead limit. The default lead creation will be receives via email. You will not be seeing the record will be created, but you will see that there is an email that gets generated. Now, on top of this, Salesforce is going to store the additional request in pending request. So more than 500, whatever the records are there, they go into the pending request. Pending request that contains the Web2 case as well as Web2 lead request. Both of them will be there. So they will go to the, basically they will go to the pending request. If it is in the pending request, that means as soon as this limit is over, the next day it will try to process few more records. The next day it will process few more records. Next day users also filling the records, then it will go to the pending list of the queue. What are the queue I have? So it will sit in the back, right? So it will keep on processing the individual record. In case if you do not want like this, then you have to talk to the Salesforce to increase the limitations, right? But this is by default limit for the Web2 lead request is 500. 500 is more than enough, right? Because they are sitting in the, whatever the records are there, they are sitting in the pending. Now in the pending request, how many records can sit? In pending request, how many records can we sit? Pending request queue has a limit of a 50,000 combined request. 50,000 is more than enough. So that means pending queue. So whatever the pending queue is there, in that pending queue, there are records that can sit in the pending queue. 50,000 combined request can be sit. Combined request is nothing but Web2 lead and Web2 case. Web2 lead and Web2 case. Right? So this is the options which are available. Now, whenever we are creating the Web2 lead, so basically whenever we are creating the Web2 lead, there is a code that gets generated at the backend. There is a code that gets generated at the backend. That means for the Web2 lead, the code is generated in the form of HTML form. The code is automatically generated HTML form. In the HTML form, so basically you need to select a field. Now, what are the fields that you wanted to display on the form? So you wanted to take it from the lead, right? Web2 lead is whatever the fields are available in the lead object. So you can choose those fields. So select those fields. Like for example, you have your first name, right? Last name. So these are the fields which are, you have selected it. Once you have selected it, and if you click on a proceed, so what will happen is there is a HTML code gets generated. Now you choose the, whatever the fields you wanted, choose that. And then once you have chosen that, then you click on a proceed or a generate, then what will happen? It will generate the HTML code. Now, whenever you are selecting a field here, you can select any type of field. But except the rich text area. So rich text area will not be allowed in the Web2 lead. In the Web2 lead, the rich text area field is not allowed. So that means Salesforce does not support the rich text area field on the Web2 lead form if you use RTA field on your form. That means if you wanted to use a rich text field, you cannot use it. So basically text and pick list values, these are the one which can be supported. Now we will see the example, right? Now, questions. Before moving on the questions, any questions? Rich text area. So which I have given here, rich text area. we have a one type of field which is available. One type of a field which is available. Now, whenever you create a field, what type of field we have to create it? What type of field we have to create it? So let's go to the object manager. Now in the object manager, we have created the object called, there is a one object which we have created last time, candidates, right? Or else you can click on the standard object also. Here you have a field and relationship. When you click on a new, now it will ask what type of data type you wanted to create. So basically it will ask, do you want to create currency date or a date time, right? Read text area, text, or a text area long, text area rich, right? So in text area itself, we have a different type of a fields we can create it. So text is the normal text area is the 255 characters with the separate lines, and text area long will have a limitations of 131072 characters, and text area rich is also same, but it will have a kind of a URL or a formatted text, everything you can add it, images, everything you can add it in the rich text area. Now this rich text area you cannot insert in the Web2 lead. You cannot insert this in the Web2 lead. Is that clear? Okay. And the next one is right. So basically that is the iframe, which is placed within the website and does not have any control. I cannot say does not have any controlled by sf.com. I cannot say that. So it is a iframe which is inserted within the website. But in case if the client wants to change anything, forms, or right, if they wanted to add a new field or they wanted to remove the field within the whatever the form is there. So they can talk to the Salesforce developer and they can make a changes into that. So that is a limitation from the Salesforce side, rich text area, because forms, whenever you insert an image, where you will store the image. Text, pick list values, anyway you can store it into the lead record, but images where you can store it. So we will see practical, then you will understand.
Ma'am, I have a doubt
No.
here.
For all your questions, hold on for the example. Okay,
Yes.
so let's move on. So here, what is a Web2 lead? What is a Web2 lead? What is a Web2 lead? Captures the information from the website. It is a form to create a feedback. Leads to the website. Yeah. Web page for the end users. Right. And what is the daily limit for the Web2 lead request? 500. What is pending request queue? How many records can stay in the pending request queue?
50,000.
Now, which data type is not supported by Web2 lead?
Rich text area.
Rich text area. Now let's see practical. So for the practical, navigation steps are, now click on the setup. Just hold on for all your questions. You can take it up later. Let me complete the practical, then we will take it up. Click on a setup menu. Search for the option Web2 lead. Search for the option web to lead in the quick find box. Now click on the web to lead link. Click on the web to lead link. So click on the web to lead link. Now go to the web to lead settings section and then click on a edit button. When you click on a edit button, you will see select and select the checkbox web to lead enabled, web to lead enabled, and then click on a save. So basically this is the screen you will see. Okay. So let me go to the navigation steps. In the navigation step, go to the here search for a web to lead. Web to lead. Search for it, web to lead. When you search a web to lead, now here, this is the client website. This is right. So this is my website. Basically, whatever the form that I'm filling on it, whatever the form that I'm creating here, that is my website. Now this form is implemented through the web to lead. Once the form is implemented and this form will be injected within the website. This form is injected within the website. So whenever a user enter the details and click on submit on the website. So what will happen is it will send the data to the Salesforce. So this is the Salesforce. So this is from the website, you will be receiving the data to the Salesforce. Now in between what we have in between in the website, we have a form that we have implemented using the web to lead. And then before reaching to the Salesforce, right in between we have a Salesforce server. In the Salesforce server, we have a web service which is available. So this web service is, this is a common web service. This is common web service. Before placing into anything, that means before crossing this, it has to cross verify certain information. Who is providing this? This is provided by the Salesforce only. This is provided by the Salesforce. So Salesforce is providing this service and this service which is available between the Salesforce and website. So in between this, it is sitting inside the Salesforce server. So before it is hitting into the database, so it is going to cross verify, a thin line will be there. It is going to cross verify the data. And if it is as per the web services rules, this is a generic web service. HTML is also has a web service, right? Whatever the page that you are, whatever the changes you are doing in the website, like I'm clicking on this button, I'm editing this button, whatever, uncheck, check, whatever we do it, for everything in generic, real time, anywhere there is a web service will be available. This web service is within the web, it is available, within the web available. Similarly, we also have a web service within the Salesforce server. Within the Salesforce server, we have this web service. Web service part is just to cross verify only the data. Only the data as per the standard website. As per the standard, there is some rules which are there for the web. As per the standard rules, is the data entered properly or not? If as per the standard rule, if the data is entered properly, then it will send back to the database. That means once it is sends the database, once it sends the data to the database, this database is Salesforce database. This is Salesforce database. It will send the data to the database, and in the database, it will insert the record. As soon as I insert the record, I can see in Salesforce. I can see the data in Salesforce. Now here, web to lead has a concept called web to lead enabled. Web to lead enabled. This web to lead is automatically enabled by the system, by the Salesforce. It is automatically enabled by the Salesforce. If you do not want to use the web to lead, if you do not want to use the web to lead, you can uncheck. It is up to the client and company. And the next one is a reCAPTCHA. reCAPTCHA, the one which we have seen in Audi, right? So to reduce the spam, require reCAPTCHA verification for the customer request. So basically, in order to avoid the spam, so we need some kind of a reCAPTCHA verification. Nowadays, it is available for almost every website. reCAPTCHA is available. So when it is enabled, requests Without a verification, do not generate the lead. So basically it is going to cross verify everything at the back end. If there is a proper, then it is going to enable. If it is a enable, right? So after enabling, confirming that your HTML includes the reCAPTCHA information. So if you check this, you will see the reCAPTCHA checkbox on the Web2 lead form. If you disable this, you will not see the reCAPTCHA, the checkbox in the Web2 lead. And next one, the user who will be listed as a creator when the lead is created. Now, in this case, for example, whenever you create a lead, so whenever we create a lead, who is the owner? Owner will be the whoever the person is created, that person name. Whoever the owner, that person name. So for example, if I'm creating the lead record, so definitely the lead owner will be the my name. Lead owner will be the my name. In case if the assignment rules are not fired, then I'll see that lead owner will be the my name. In case if the assignment rules are fired, then we can go for the assignment rule. But in case if it is assignment rules are not fired, in that case, we'll have the person name, will have a person name. So here in this case, the person name is April Batch. Now, when the lead is created through the website, whose the name should be coming here? If the assignment rule is not qualified, then who is the name should be displayed in the lead owner is decided by this option. Now, whenever the lead is created, who will be the listed as a creator? That means through the web, we are creating the lead, right? So whenever the lead is created through the web, what should be the person name in the lead owner? That means who should be the coming as a created by, who should be the name of the person. Now, next one is a default response template. Now, this is kind of a auto response rules, right? So you can use the lead auto response rules to be select the different email response template. So here, whenever you select it here, so you will have a different templates are available. So these are the default templates. Don't worry about it. These are the default templates. We have not created anything. So Salesforce is provided something default templates. Let's say here we have a something called new customer email. So you can choose the new customer email, right? So these are the default templates which are provided by the Salesforce. Either you can select it or you can remove it because this is an option. Now let me remove this for now. Now click on it, save. Not made any changes. As it is there. Now, once this is done, basically this is the initial setup of the Web2 lead. Now, here, create a Web2 lead. Now, click on this, generate a Web2 lead or create a Web2 lead form. Click on this Web2 lead form. When you click on this Web2 lead form, what is happening? Create a Web2 lead form. Now select the field to site form. Select the fields to include. Now what are the fields it is displaying? First name, last name, email, company, city, right? Salutation, title, website, phone number, fax, right? Now street, zip, country, description, lead source, industry. These all fields it is displaying it. So now what I'll do is I'll go to the object manager. I'll search for a lead object. Click on here lead. Now what I'll do is I'll create a new field. So in this object manager, click on the fields and relationship and then click on a new field. When you click on a new field, it is going to ask you that what is the type of data type of the field that you wanted to create. So I'm going with the text area rich. Click on this. So I'll say here rich text area. Field name is rich text area. Rich text area, click on next. Now length is by default I'm keeping, and this field should be visible to by default. It is whatever it is saying that I'm going with on that. So basically I'm creating the new custom field. New custom field. Now I have a new custom field where the data type is rich text area. Now let me show you that. Now here I have a data type which is called rich text area, and the field name is rich text area, and the API name is rich text area. Now let's go back to the web to lead. In the web to lead, just refresh. Now here it is displaying the R. Now here it is a rich text area. Now I'll select this rich text area. Right, so this is for just example, I'm selecting it. Now, I have selected the first name, last name, email, company, city, state, rich text area, right? Perfect. Now these are the details which I have. Now these are the fields which you need to select it. These are the fields which you need to select it. Now once these fields are selected, what is the return URL? What is the return URL? Return URL is basically once you submit the form, this form should be redirected to the thank you page. This form should be redirected to the thank you page. As soon as the user click on the submit button, it should show the thank you page, or some page it should be showing. Some page it should show. So basically, as soon as you click on the submit, it should be redirected to the another page. It should be redirected to the another page. Now, what is that redirected page? You can give any other page. You can give any other page. So I'll go ahead and I'll search for here trial head link. Let me give the trial head link. Let's select the trial head link. Now I'll use this https:// and then we have a trialhead.salesforce.com. So once a user submit the lead form, I will return to this page. I will return to this page. So here include a reCAPTCHA in HTML. If you want to include it, you can say here checkbox is true. If you do not want the recap, just remove it. Just remove it. If you remove, there is no options will be available. If you say include, then here you have a reCAPTCHA. Now, if you select it here, what is the API key pair? So reCAPTCHA will have some API names you need to include it here. Now, right now I'm not going with the API concept. So I'll say here uncheck, and click on it, generate. Click on it, generate. As soon as I click on it, generate. As soon as I click on it, generate, what happened? There is some code is got generated. There is some code which is generated. You see here, there is a lot of code which is generated by the Salesforce, which is a code generated by the Salesforce. When it is generated, so just take a copy of that. Just take a copy of that. Control A, C, and go to the notepad or a notepad ++. Notepad or a notepad ++. So when you copy that exactly whatever it is there, and then here, say here, HTML, type HTML, open HTML, and then you have a close HTML. You have a close HTML. Within this, say here body, and within this, say this body. This is called as an open HTML. Open HTML, close HTML. That means I'm starting opening, writing here. This is the open and this is close. What is the difference between the open and close? Close will have this slash. Close will have this slash. Now here, this is the open body and this below one is closed body. So this is the open and this is a close. This is close. In HTML, the concept is whenever you open any tag, you need to close that tag. You need to close that tag. Whenever you open any tag, you have to close the tag. So example, HTML, I'm opening them. And then you should have a closed one. You should have closed one. Now I'm opening up the body. Then you should have a close. So any tag in the HTML, if you are opening up, it should have a closer. It should have a closer. So only you need to write these 4 lines. Only you need to write these 4 lines. One is starting, you need to specify the HTML and close of the HTML. Within the HTML, you need to open the body and close the body. Right? So within this, you need to specify, paste that form. Whatever you have copied, paste that. Whatever you have copied, paste that. This is the form which I have copied. This is the code which I have copied from the Web2 lead. Whatever the Web2 lead is there I have copied it. So I have copied it from here and pasted here. Now simply what I did, I copied from the Web2 lead, whatever the code is generated by the Salesforce, I copied that and I pasted within the HTML and body. Within the HTML and body, I have pasted. See here, first name, last name, email, company, lab, city, right, state, right? And then you have a rich text area, lot of code will be there, right? So this is the entire thing you can paste it. Entire thing you can paste it. So these all informations are available. These all are coming from how it is generated based on the field that you have selected. Based on the field, the one which you have selected. So you have given the first name. For the first name, what is the type? Text, right? Last name is also text. Mostly everything is a text. Now rich text area is also type is a text here. Rich text area type is also text. Now all the whatever you have, everything will be selected as a text. Right? So this is the code that is generated by the Salesforce. Just copy that code, paste it within the HTML and body. Now here, now again I'm going through the steps. Web2 lead. If you want to generate a Web2 lead, you can note down all the steps here. There are 4 steps to configure Web2 lead in Salesforce. There are 4 steps to configure Web2 lead in Salesforce. Step 1, enable the Web2 lead feature inside the organization. Where are you enabling the Web2 lead? By default, enabling the Web2 lead feature is done by the Salesforce. Step 1 is already done by the Salesforce. You need not to do anything there. Step 1, you need not to do anything there. It is automatically done by the Salesforce. Now, if you go to the Web2 lead here, So when you click on a Web2 lead, the step 1 is you just need to cross verify whether this particular option is enabled or not. If it is not enabled, enable it. Otherwise, if there is already enabled it, then don't do anything. Now here, the first one is step 1 is enable the Web2 lead concept. Enable the Web2 lead feature inside the organization, which is already done by the Salesforce. Salesforce by default, they will enable it. Now, next one is a step 2. Step 2 is you need to generate the web2lead HTML form. You need to generate web2lead HTML form with the required fields, Now, which is used to capture the lead one. Now, how can you generate a web2lead HTML form? Now, first thing is that you need to go to the web2lead settings section, and then you have an option to create a web2lead button. Create a web2lead button. Now, here you have a create a web2lead button. Create a web2lead button. So what you need to do is you have to click on this, create a web2lead form, create web2lead form. So when you click on a create a web2 form button, this is the screen that gets open. In this screen, you need to select here. There are two boxes. One is left side is available field, right side is the one which you are going to select and display on the form. Right? You need to choose the required field, which are the field that you wanted. Select here and then click on an add button, then it will be added, right? And then next one is arrange the fields, which are the order you wanted, Now, for example, now let's go here. Now this is the data. Now first name, last name, email, company, city, state. Now what I'll do is I'll take another few fields, lead source, and then I'll take the rich text area. Now let's assume what I'm doing here, I'm selecting this. I'm selecting this, I'm clicking on the add button. Now if you want to remove it, you can click on this remove. Select that and then remove it. Now lead source, I wanted to display it after the company or before the company. Now this is up and down. You can sort it out. So arrange the fields in the required order by using the up and down. So which are the order you wanted? So you can specify the order. And next one is a return URL. Return URL could be anything. So this return URL could be your Salesforce or could be a trailhead, could be a thank you page. Return URL is nothing but once the form is entered by the user and clicked on the submit, then once it is submitted, the page has to be redirected. Then only the user will understand, okay, it is submitted. Otherwise, they will not understand whether it is submitted or not, right? So those are the one, and then unselect the checkbox for the captcha option. So reCAPTCHA one, it is by default, it is on. So just unselect that for the practice purpose, just unselect. Now these are the web2lead. Step 1 is automatically done by the Salesforce. Step 2, you need to do. You need to click on a create web2lead form. When you click on a create a web2lead form, you will be able to see this screen. In this screen, we have you need to select the fields, you need to select the URL, you need to select the captcha. These are the details you need to select it. Once you select these details and click on a generate button, here we have a generate HTML button. So there is a generate button at the bottom. When you click on a generate button, what will happen is the code is generated by the Salesforce. When you click on a generate button, the code is generated by the Salesforce. You simply take that code, copy that code, open the notepad. In the notepad, just type the less than HTML and greater than HTML. And at the end, you have a closure of HTML, right? Less than /HTML and greater than, which is also called as a close HTML. And within the HTML, you need to open the body where you need to use the less than body, greater than, and closer is less than /body and greater than. Within this, you need to write your own HTML code. So the HTML code is which is provided by the Salesforce. Just copy that and paste it in between this. So once it is copied, save that file as a .html or a .html. Save that file as a .html or .htm. HTM or a HTML. It is up to you which are the format we wanted to go for it. Mostly we will use the HTML and few members will use the .htm as well. HTM as well. That is the extension. That is the extension which is available. Now, step 3, once those 2 steps are done, now step 3 is basically you need to place the HTML inside the organization-wide mandatory by the web design. Basically, you need to provide that whatever the web form is there that is generated in the step 2 should be provided to the client. So step 4, client will be accessing that data, accessing that form and submitting the data. When we submit it, whether the record is created or not, we need to test it. Now, so far I have copied the data. Now let me copy again. Now here I have selected few more details. Now let's say here trial head. Now let me copy this trial head. Now return URL is trial head. Click on this, generate. Now it is generated the another code. It is generated the another code. Just copy that code. So what you have to do is go to the new page here. Go to the new page here. In the new page, you have to type HTML and then you have a closer HTML. And within the HTML, specify the body. And then you have a body here. Now within this, just paste the logic that you have done it. Just paste the logic that you have copied from the Salesforce. And now save this. Save this file. File save as desktop. Go to this desktop. Let's say here this is a web lead .html. .html. So click on it, save. It says normal text file. Let's say here, do we have any file? All types. Select all types. So weblead.html. Now click on it, save. Now, as soon as I clicked on it, save, everything will be converted as a HTML. Everything will be converted as a HTML, right? So here type is text for everything, right? So lead source is a pick list field. For the pick list field, there is no type here. No type is available. Type is a text. So basically for the pick list, it is not available. Now, again, we have something called company, city, state, provision, right? Then we have a text area. Text area type is also, it is taking as a text. Rich area, text area, rich text area type is also taking it as a text. Right now, I have a file which I have saved it in the desktop. Now let me go to the desktop. Now in the desktop, I have something called Web2 lead or a lead web. What is the name of the file? Web lead. So web lead is the one which I have saved. Now here it is a web lead. Now this is a web lead. Now this is the web lead. Today I have saved it. Double click on this. Now what is happening? This is how the form is displayed. Salesforce does not put any styling. By default, you will not have a style. By default, you will not have a style. So this is the form which is generated by the Salesforce. And what developer has done is, developer just added the 4 lines of code and created this as a .html file. .html file. Now here, first name, last name, email, lead source, company, city, state, provision, rich text area, right? So these are the informations which are available. Now, first name, like it does not have any kind of a format. First of all, it does not have any kind of a format and no styling will be there because the Web2 lead, the form which we have created, every company has their own style, their own images, right? Their own style of displaying the data. Now, if you go to the Audi, so Audi has a theme line. Every company has a certain theme line. So it is red and black. Now, if you go to the ICICI Bank, it has a red and white, right? So somewhere orange and white, some kind of this is there. So whenever we click on a forms also, the forms also displaying in the same color and same font. Same color and the same font it is going to display. So if I apply a theme here, if I apply a theme or a font, anything, if I apply CSS, it is not a fair. So what we will do is basically we will give this form to the website. In the website, we have a designer, right? We have a designer. So this designer, we will give the form. And what this designer does is basically they will take the form and they will do the customization on top of it. They will do customization on top of it. So once it is customized, that means based on their theme line, black color, red color, what kind of a font, and how much length do I need to display it, everything this designer does it based on the website. So once that is done, it will display as a kind of a beautiful whatever we have seen in the here. So this is everything, whatever the beautification is there. This entire beautification is done by the designer inside the website. In the website, we have a separate team. That team will be doing it. But from the Salesforce side, we do not have any kind of a stylings which are not available. Any kind of a styling which is not available. Now, for example, I'm submitting the form. Let's assume that I'm submitting the form. Let's say here the person who is interested here, the person who is interested here. Now, the person name is, let's say that Archana, and last name is Gajala, right? And the email is, let's say, archana@gmail.com. And then we have a lead source. Lead source, this is a pick list field. We have added pick list field. So whatever the pick list fields that are available in the Salesforce, those all values will be displayed here. Now, if you go to the lead and if you see the lead source, what are the pick list values are there? Let's go to the lead state, lead source. Now we have a web, phone inquiry, partner referral, purchase list, other. Now these all are displaying. These all are displaying here, right? Web, phone inquiry, partner referral, product list, other, all these options are displaying it. Because whenever I include, while generating the Web2 lead, if I take it as any pick list, if I take any pick list, what will happen while generating the code? Salesforce generates the code. So whenever they generate a code, they create here. So this is the options that they will be creating it. They will be creating the options which are available within the select, right? These many options which are available in the select. So by default, Salesforce is generating it. So you can select here text is, for example, it is a web and the company is, let's say, ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank. And city is Hyderabad. And then state provisioning, right? So I'll leave that. and here rich text. Rich text, what I can do here, rich text, I can add some text. I can add some text, but now let me add the text here. Copy the, I'm copying some data here. I pasted the rich text. Along, apart from this text, can I add images here? I cannot add. Can I add a URL? I cannot add. For example, if I'm adding a URL here. For example, I'm adding a URL here. How it is displaying? It is displaying as a normal text. Let's put the URL also. Click on a submit. Click on submit. As soon as I click on a submit, it will be redirected to the trial head page. It will be redirected to the trial head page. What is the reason to redirect to trial head page? Because whenever while creating the web tool lead, I have specified the redirect URL is trial head. So let me show you in the page in this. So here, if you go to on top, there is a red URL. Red URL is nothing but redirect URL. Redirect URL. So this redirect URL will be the trialhead salesforce.com. So we will be specifying the URL in the while creating the web tool lead, we will be specifying this URL. So here, this URL, what are the URL is specified in the red URL. So this URL will be redirected whenever we submit it, right? So now I have submitted this. Now let me go back to the leads page. Now click on a lead. In the lead, we have a something called concept in the list view. It says that today's lead. In the list view, we have a today's lead. So click on a today's lead. How many leads are created today? Today only one lead is created. Today one lead is created. So Archana lead is created. Detail section. Now in the detail section, these are the details are created, right? And then this is the rich text area which it is added here, right? So and then lead owner assignment role is automatically pied. So assignment role is automatically pied for the web tool lead. And then here the rich text area. I'm just editing this rich text area. Now rich text area, right? So what are things I can add it here? In the rich text area, I can add an image. I can add some image. I don't know what is this image, but let's add that image. Right, some image I have added, and then I can use the link. I can use the link option also. And then I can use the board. I can use board. Now, when I'm doing this web tool lead, will I be able to qualify? Will I be able to, whatever the standard formats are there, will I be able to do in the web tool lead? I cannot do that. I cannot. Means I'm not fulfilling the actual usability of rich text area. I'm not able to fulfill of the rich text area. It comes as a normal text, right? I'm not able to fulfill the basic requirement of the rich text area. Now, if you use a rich text area, definitely client is going to ask you that rich text area is where I can place the images, right? And I can use this bold and I can format it, something which I can make it as a italic. So why am I not able to do? Why I'm not able to do? So is that issue in your code? Like that, those questions they will be raised. When we are not fulfilling the actual standard Salesforce functionality is there, why should we use the rich text area? Why should we use the rich text area if I'm not able to fulfill? So rich text area is nothing but I have a different type of format. I can make it as a bold, right? So I can do it like a step by step and make it as a Boolean. These two are buttons. And then one thing which I can make it as a italic, underline, right? So, and I can add an image. And also if I wanted to change this font, I can change the font, right? I can change the font of this images. I can add multiple images I can add. And if this is a text which I wanted as a normal text, which I can place it here. So these many things which I can do it in the rich text area. In the rich text area, I can do so many things which I can do, right? So, but am I able to do this, all this? What are the rich text area qualifications are there? Am I able to fulfill those here? Can I add an image in there? I cannot add an image. How can I add an image here? I cannot add an image. By default, it is not available. By default, it is not available. So it's not a fair to use a rich text area in the web toolkit. It is not fair to use a rich text area. But whenever you use a rich text area, so make sure that change the name of that and it display just like a text. Because instead of using the rich text area, you have a other options also. You have a other options like a rich text area long. Rich text area long is available, right? You can use that, and rich text area you can use it. Text you can use it. Now, whenever you use this kind of a data type, everything has a certain space is occupied at the backend. Certain space is occupied in the database, right? So when it says text, it might be the smaller space because it is just a 255 character. It says just smaller space. When you say text area, the space is allocated for text area is little bit higher than text. Text area long, it will be little bit higher than the text area, the space will be. A rich text area, it is going to occupy more space because it has a so many spaces which are available, and in this you can use the image. That means you need to use the space at the back end where the image also should fit into that space. Image also should fit into that space. That means if you use a rich text area in the web toolkit, ultimately you are occupying the space at the back end. Whether you are entering the images or not, unnecessarily you are using the space at the back end, which is a waste of it, which is waste of it. Instead of that, just use the rich text area. Instead of that, text area long, or instead of that, just use a text area, or instead of that, just use a text. Because anyway, if you use a rich text area, ultimately Salesforce is going to convert that as a type equal to text. Ultimately, it is going to convert it as a type equal to text. Now here, this is a rich text area, right? What is the type here? Type, it says there is nothing called as a type here. There is nothing called as a type. Now, okay. So here you have a something called text. For everything it is says text, right? For everything it says text. For rich text area also it is saying the text. It does not say that it is a rich text area. It is simply saying the text, right? So that's unnecessary space and use of it. So that's the reason better use the text instead of a text area. Now, is that clear, everybody? Web to lead. Now questions. Okay. And one more thing, whenever we are creating a lead, so for example, I'm creating the lead manually. Whenever we create a lead, whenever we are creating the lead, if I want a assignment rules to be fired, if I want assignment rules to be fired, then I have to check this checkbox. I have to check this checkbox. Then only assignment rules are going to fire. Then only assignment rules are going to fire. Otherwise, it will not fire the assignment rule. But when I create a web tool lead, automatically the assignment rules are fired. That means at the back end, whenever the web lead is created through the web, or whenever we have a web tool lead concept, the assignment rules are auto-generated. You need not to have a separate checkbox or something. It's not required. It will be automatically executed. Now, next, let's go on to the web tool.
Ma'am, can I ask one question here?
Yes.
So I mean, in general, like the lead will be generated by the web to Web2 lead, right? I mean, so instead of that, I mean, I can make my own custom form, and I can through the API call, can I create?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, okay, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you want to go with the Salesforce standard, this is the functionality. If you want to customize it, you can do the customization. Customization, there are so many customizations are there. So we will discuss in the development time.
Okay, okay.
Now, this is the Web2 lead. Now, the next concept is Web2 case. Web2 case. Web2 case is also similar to whatever we have discussed with Web2 lead. But only the difference between the Web2 lead and Web2 case is, let's see that. So for the Web2 case, in order, for example, if users are raising the case directly in the company's website, right? I can go to the Salesforce website and I can raise a ticket. I can raise a case saying that this is not working, that is not working. I can raise a case, right? We are directly generating in the Salesforce website. So whenever the generate, it could be any website. So if you are generating the case in any website, now, whenever it is generated, basically, how can we implement? Let's see that in quick find search, Web2 case, search for a Web2 case. By default, enable the Web2 case checkbox should be true. And then you have a, now in the lead, what happened is in the lead, you just need to go to Web2. You just need to search for a Web2 lead, right? Web2 lead, you just need to search it. Now, when you search a Web2 lead, you have a two options which are available. One is you need to enable the Web2 case, and another one is generate a HTML, create a Web2 lead HTML, right? So these two are available only within this, only within one option. Whereas Web2 case is the first part is divided separately, the second part is divided separately. That means generating the HTML code is separate and Web2 case is a separate. Web2 case is separate. Now let's go ahead and show you that. Now here, let's search. Now here you have a Web2 lead setting and create a Web2 lead form. There is no separate form for the generating it, right? But when you go to the Web2 case, in the Web2 case, see here, Web2 case and Web2 case HTML generator. Whereas lead, it has only one thing, Web2 lead. Web2 lead, only one option is there, but in case you have a two separate thing, Web2 case and Web2 case HTML generator. HTML generator. Now, if you click on a Web2 case, so you have a two options here, Web2 case HTML generator. If you click on a Web2 case, basic settings you have to do. Basic settings, the one which we have discussed, basic settings and auto response. There are two sections are available in the Web2 case. One is a basic settings, one is auto response email. Now, by default, enable Web2 case is enabled, but if you want to disable, you can disable it. Now, require capture, if you want to require capture, you can enable or disable. Default case origin, whether you wanted default case origin, whenever the case is created through the web, now what is the default origin? Case origin is a one field on the case. Case origin is a one field on the case. So there is a pick list. Let me show you that. Now here we have a case is not there. Let me go to the service. In the service, now here you have a concept called case. Now go to the case. Now in the case, there is a one field which is available, case origin. So case origin is, this is a pick list field. It's a pick list field. Do you want a web, email, phone? Web, email, phone. So that's the same option is displaying here, web, email, phone. Now that is the basic settings. The next one is auto response email settings. Auto response email settings. Now this auto response email setting is, now whenever the case is created, do you want to do the auto response? By default, Salesforce is giving some template here. Let's use that template. right? Email signature. Do you want to have any email signature? Let's say that I wanted to have an email signature. Thank you, Swapna IT. Right? Click on save. Click on save. That is the basic setting. In the basic setting, you have a two options. One is a basic settings and auto response. Web 2 case, you have a two sections, basic settings and auto response email. Next one is a HTML generator. Web 2 case, HTML generator. In the HTML generator, same steps. You need to select the fields which you wanted to display here. And then what is the URL that you wanted to be redirected? Recapture. Okay, right now let's uncheck the recapture and click on generate. When you click on the generate, there is a code gets generated. There is a code gets generated. Now let's click on the web 2 case. Now I have chosen these details and the trial head, I'm going to put this trial head. So here, return to this URL, recapture, I'll uncheck and then click on generate. Now here is the code that is get generated. Just copy this code and you have to add it between the HTML and body. So let me delete the previous one. This is the previous one. Now within the HTML and body, just add that whatever you have. Just add whatever you have. Now let's open that form. Now click on this web 2 lead form. Now you have a contact name, email, phone, subject, description. This is how it will display. Now this is the homework you have to do it. This is the homework you have to do. So homework is web 2 case assignment is configure the web 2 case, right? Configure the web 2 case. That means basic settings and auto response email settings that you have to do it. And you need to generate a web 2 lead, web 2 case, generate a web 2 case and take any fields. Take 4 fields. Let's say that, let's give you that. So let's take the subject, description, email, phone, right? Status is a big list. Priority. These are the fields which are required. So use these fields, right? Select these fields in order to generate the web 2 case. And then submit the case from HTML. That means you need to take that, what are the generated by the Salesforce is there, take that and create a HTML body and save it as a .html or a .htm and submit the case by opening up that file. So once the case is submitted, it should be redirected to the www.salesforce.com. Redirected to the www.salesforce.com. So once the case is created in the Salesforce, the assignment rule has to be, so it has to be configure a case assignment rule to assign the case record to the associated queue. Associated queue based on the priority as below. That means you need to have a assignment rule where the priority equal to high. It should go to case should be assigned to the tier 1 service queue. If priority equal to medium, then case should be assigned to tier 2 service. If priority equal to low, then it should be assigned to the tier 3 service. Right? So this is what is the assignment. Note down the assignment. Let me know once it is you are done. In the meantime, any questions anybody can ask? Okay, so there is basically no relationship. What I was saying is there is a thin line. Okay, so let me give you that. Is everybody noted this? Okay, so let's go to the paint. Now, let's suppose here. Now we have a Salesforce. Okay. We have a Salesforce. This is a Salesforce. This is the Salesforce. Now, and then we have a database. There is a database. This side, the database is available. This side, the database is available. Now, Salesforce and database, which is available. Now, whenever you enter some data here, whenever you enter some data, it goes to the database.com. Like as soon as you click on the save button, like I'm creating a new account. Whenever you create a new account, that means whenever you click on the save button here, what will happen as soon as you click on the save button, the request goes to the database.com. Till this point, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So here it goes to the database.com. So, but what I'm doing right now, I'm not filling the data within the Salesforce. What I'm doing, I'm filling the data within the website. Within the website. Now we have a website here. Now I have a website. Now this is the website. In the website, we have a form that is related to the Salesforce. There is a form which is related to the Salesforce. This is a form, as in that Salesforce form. Salesforce form. Now, where I'm filling the data, I'm not filling. So right now, Salesforce and database, these both are in one, right? So whatever the data I'm filling here, ultimately Salesforce is going to cross verify before it is hitting into the database. Salesforce has its own validation. There is a thin line between the database and Salesforce, where the Salesforce is doing the validation here. Salesforce is doing the validation here, right? Which is called as a system validation, So Salesforce is doing the validation whether you have entered data properly or not, whether you have entered the email correctly or not, whether you have entered the website correctly or not, all the data properly you have entered or not. First, it will cross-verify this. Salesforce is going to cross-verify the data. Once it is cross-verified, everything is done here. Then it will pass it to the database.com. Otherwise, it will not pass. So first validation is system is going to do it. Salesforce is going to do it. And then after that, one more validation is database is going to do it. In the database, we are also going to verify that based on the certain condition, whether the data is entered properly or not. So there are two levels of validations out there. Now, this is within the Salesforce. Now, when you are sending the data from website to the Salesforce database, so that means you are sending here from the website. From the website, you are sending the data to the Salesforce website, Salesforce database. You are not hitting the Salesforce UI here. You are not hitting, you are directly hitting the database here. You are directly hitting the database. It is not going to the UI part at all. UI part from where it is coming, once it is inserted, then it will go to the, you can see in the UI. So from the website, whenever the user enters the data, directly it will hit the database. So before hitting the database, there has to be some validation has to be done. There has to be some validation. What kind of a validation? When I'm doing it through the website, I need to have some kind of a validation which has to be done as per the standards of website, as per the standard of web server. So web service also, or web servers is also, we have some kind of a validation which needs to be done. So first cross this thin line. That means as per the standard, have you entered everything or not? If you have entered, that means it is qualified by the web service. Once it is qualified from the website, then you go and hit into the database. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's go on. Now we'll cover the automate rules, auto response rules we'll cover tomorrow. Now question, what is web to case? What is web to case? Right. So we are providing the form on the website. That form is a case form. So users can submit the cases directly from the website. Cases are raised directly from the website, right? Okay. How to send auto response users after creating the lead and case?
We enable email support.
How to send auto response user? Auto response user. I'm not asking the return URL. Auto response user. Like as soon as the case is created, as soon as the lead is created. So usually we see that whenever I fill the form, immediately I'll receive the email, right? So auto response email. How can we send the auto response email? So there is an option in both of them. We need to enable that option. So what is that option in the lead level? If you go to the lead level, we have a auto response option which is available. Now, web to case. Now here, where is it? It's on the web to case. In the web to case, we have an option called auto response template. Similarly, we have a web to lead also. In the web to lead, it is a in the web to lead, click on edit here. Default response template. So you need to select the template. It's not a checkbox. You need to select the template. So what kind of information you wanted to send it? What kind of information you wanted to send it? So that is a default response template. Default response template. Now this is we have not covered. These are the trial heads. I'll ping you the trial heads. Okay, that's all for today.